right, this is the video recording for Metabolism Lesson 1.3 Part 1. So this would be if you have class Monday or Tuesday, and then we will complete Part 2 of Lesson 1.3 on Wednesday or Thursday. It is a long lesson, so we decided to split it up into 2 parts. That way it would be easier to manage. It's got a lot of important information in it, so I wanted to make sure that you really kind of took it all in and it wasn't overwhelming. So for this lesson, we are going to look at the type of molecules cells need in order to function in our body. And we are focusing really on the healthy body because we are trying to diagnose Elisa and figure out what's wrong with her. And in order to figure out what's wrong with her, we really need to dive in and understand what a healthy body does and what it needs to function before we can kind of analyze and figure out what an unhealthy body looks like. And so we are going to use a digital model today to determine what cells need, like glucose, oxygen, amino acids, and things like that. So you can see we have our slides down here. And we have a reading today, but before we do the reading, I had everybody enter this vocab into their Cornell notes in our notebook. And so we had molecule, glucose, oxygen, and amino acid. And as you can see, the definitions are here. And so I had everyone do this in their Cornell notes because remember this time around, I'm really going to chunk out those Cornell notes so it's a lot more manageable and not overwhelming. So we're going to do it piece by piece. So like I said, today we added, I'm going to move this, we added these 4 definitions. So molecules are a group of atoms joined together in a particular way. And then amino acid is molecules that are the building blocks of proteins. And we get these amino acids from food and taking food. And obviously different foods have different molecules and proteins and sugars and things in them. And we'll kind of focus on that later. And then oxygen is the next vocab word. That is a molecule that we get from the air or water around us and use to release energy. And then glucose, a molecule that we, missing a letter there, that we use to release energy. A little typo here. And it's made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So you can either pause the video here to get those in your notebook, or you can use the definitions that are in the direction slides for today. The next thing that we did after we went over those definitions and made sure we understood was that we went to slide 7. On slide 7, that is our reading, and we read this on our own. I'm probably going to go over parts of it when I meet with you again for part 2, but for the beginning, I kind of had you read this on your own. It's 3 paragraphs, so you'll read that, and then on slide 8, you'll see that there are a couple questions to go with it based on that reading. And this reading is really important because it's providing us some foundation and some basic information that we need to know to understand what molecules are and what they do for our body. And so you can see, summarize the first paragraph, what makes a protein, what makes glucose, and so some real basic important questions to pull out that information from your reading. So that's the first thing on our agenda here. You can see we are reading that article and doing slide 7 and 8. The next thing that we completed was on slide 9. And remember, we are splitting this lesson up into 2 parts. So if I don't specify to do it today with 1.1 or 1.3 part 1, then it is meant to be in part 2. Example being, we are doing this part today, the molecules in a healthy cell, but we are not doing this part today. We're leaving that for part 2. So up here, what we're going to do, and you can see here, there is this link that will take you to the modeling tool that we're going to use in Amplify. And the idea that we're going to do is that we are going to use the modeling tool to model what you think a healthy body should look like and what molecules need to go into that healthy body for it to be functioning properly. And so we are going to do that, and then you're going to upload a screenshot here. So you're going to take a screenshot of your modeling tool once you've done it and upload it here. If you are having issues with the screenshot tool, or you don't know how to screenshot, or you're having issues uploading it here, then I will accept it in Amplify, because you turn it in Amplify if you can. but you need to write on here or make a little comment on the side to let me know that when I go to grade this notebook that I should look and amplify for this. So this is the modeling tool. And like I said, that is linked in your notebook. So if you click on that link, it'll take you here. This yellow orangey thing is representing our cell. And we've talked about this when we played around with the simulation last week. We have trillions of these in our body, and this is just one of them. And so these are your molecules here on the side. You can see each shape kind of represents a different type. We have protein, oxygen, starch, and so on. You can click, hold down your mouse, drag, unclick to drop, and put the different molecules in here. So what do you think your body needs? And so you're going to drag and drop. You can put in multiple if you think there needs to be 2 waters. You can do that, multiple ones, maybe some of these you don't need. You're going to decide what you think a healthy body needs out of these molecules, put them in here, take a screenshot, put that screenshot in your notebook. As I said, if you have issues, there is this hand in button up here and you can hand it in, but you need to specify on your notebook here somewhere that you did that, because I will be grading these notebooks about a week from now and I will not know if you did it in Amplify. I will just assume that you didn't do it. So make sure you specify, but try to get that screenshot in here. Next thing, remember you're not doing the second part of this. You're going to scroll all the way to slide 12. So I'm all the way on slide 12. You're skipping 10 and 11 because we're doing those in part 2. Here is, I'm actually going to show you. So there are 3 videos in here because we focused on glucose, amino acids, and oxygen today. And so some things we talked about, we had a little discussion as well, that we get glucose and amino acids from different foods that we eat. That's how we get those molecules in our body. And then obviously we get oxygen from breathing. And so those are the ways those molecules enter our body. So these 3 videos are a little kind of further learning about these things. Okay, so make sure that you watch those, and then there is a link to a Google form. If you were in my first hour, I messaged it to you in Canvas because this link is not working right. In my 6th hour, I have not messaged it, but in class, I will message it. So you will have that in Canvas. This one didn't work right, and I don't want to mess with it because all of your notebooks are already given to you. And so even if I fix this one in mine, you all have already made your own copies of your notebooks, so it wouldn't change in yours. So I'm going to have to give that link to you outside of Canvas. So be looking out for that. And so according to our agenda, that is it. There is an exit ticket that you will need to complete, but you should have done slides 7 and 8. 7 was the reading, 8 was the questions about the reading. Make sure you add in this vocab on your Cornell notes for chapter 1. We modeled a healthy cell and the molecules that it needs, and that you did in Amplify, and then took a screenshot and put in slide 9. And then you had your 3 videos about molecules in the cell and the Google form. Then the exit ticket in Canvas, and that is that for this lesson.